Punt It Long, episode 8. I'll admit this is going to be a completely unplanned, no real itinerary to what I'm going to say because I've had quite a hectic day already. As you can hear, my voice is still wrecked for the weekend. I've really done myself no favours for shouting as much as I did, and I'm feeling the effects of it now. I've had a sore head all week. That's went away now, but this voice is still really poor and I can barely speak properly, as you can obviously tell. If you're wondering why this is kind of an unplanned episode and no real backbone to it, and the reason why I'm in a shirt, I've just came for a job interview a few hours ago. I had a job interview for a social media apprentice, so here's hoping that I get some positive news on that. Having to go through an interview with a voice like this wasn't exactly planned, but hey ho, I've got a decent video out of it and it's helped me get a bit of exposure and stuff for the channel. So, and of course we got the result that we probably needed at the time. We couldn't have lost that game really, especially now that Inverness won their fixture last night against Livingston. I apologise for this voice once again. It's going to be a tough episode for me to film just because I know I sound absolutely horrific, but please just try and put up with it as best you can. The two main talking points in football this week were Arsene Wenger resigning just a few days after I posted Punt It Long last week, and it was sad to see him go down the way he has in the past few years. It's been a bit of a poisonous atmosphere at Arsenal though, and it was probably needed, the change, and it's definitely the right time for it to happen, although you could argue it could have happened at the end of last season when he was out of contract anyway. Why did he bother signing a 2-year deal when he's only going to fulfil a year of it and then move on anyway? There's no doubt that he's got a brilliant legacy at Arsenal and the fans will remember him for the good times, and they shouldn't really focus on the negative times because at the end of the day, every club's going to have them. It just dragged out for far too long at Arsenal, and whilst Arsene Wenger's very culpable for that, I don't believe that that should be his outstanding legacy at Arsenal. I believe he should have something like a statue made or something along the lines of just to be able to remember the name of the guy, because once he's gone you'll realise how much you miss that sort of presence, and the fact that a lot of people have grown up with Arsene Wenger as Arsenal manager. That association of Arsene Wenger with Arsenal Football Club will eventually wear off and Arsenal will become probably a better team for it, but you'll always remember the Arsene Wenger era at Arsenal, and there's no reason why it can't be remembered in a positive light. Although with the internet the way it is just now, I wouldn't be surprised if it's mainly negative just due to the fact that everything's on social media, and Arsenal Fan TV's been a big part of that. Overall, I wish Arsene Wenger all the best in his future. I believe he'll probably stick within something within football. Don't know what capacity that will be. Might be international management, might be something more high end, like in the hierarchy at FIFA or something. But no matter what he gets involved in, he's bound to be a success at it, because those type of legacies can only be a good thing for football. And the only other main talking point really in the world of football was last night's Champions League game between Liverpool and AS Roma. Liverpool were flying again, and it's astounding how they can play these big European ties and be smashing teams left, right and centre with goals here and there. They've done it with Man City, who were favourites for the tie. Roma weren't favourites for the tie. Liverpool probably just edged them in that factor. You've got to think that Liverpool have this, despite the fact they let in 2 away goals at the end. They had the same situation with Man City. They were 3 goals up and they got their away goal at Etihad and saw the tie out and got to the semi-final. There really is no reason why Liverpool can't reach the final, and Mo Salah has been obviously a huge part of that. It's a whole team game at Liverpool, but Mo Salah has had an outstanding season and it will probably never be replicated for years and years to come. The closest that's came to that has obviously been Messi and Ronaldo in recent years, but even so, Salah's breaking records that no one has ever managed to break for, I think it's a decade now. Suarez had a similar record in the Premier League, but I think Salah's even broken that now, and before that it was players like Ronaldo and Alan Shearer and stuff, the greatest goal scorers and football players of the 21st century really, and beforehand. So as I said though, Liverpool, it's a team game, and players like Roberto Firmino and Sadio Mane, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Andy Robertson, all the full Liverpool side, they're all pulling together in one direction, and the quote's true. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard enough, and Liverpool is all about hard work, and as I said, they've got the talent on their side as well. They've got Salah with tremendous talent, but the full Liverpool ethos is about hard work and resiliency and that gegenpressing and pressing against your opponent and making sure you keep that up for the 90 minutes, and that's a real part of Liverpool's game, and that's the main reason why they're able to score all these goals, because they're constantly on the back of teams and always looking on the front foot as well. They're never really going into a defensive mode, which obviously entails that you're only really going to play one way, and with the players they've got at their disposal, they can't really play defensively either. They've got a lot of attacking talent, and that obviously helps them in the way they want to play, and Jurgen Klopp could really do something with this Liverpool side. Taking them to a Champions League final would propel this side to new heights, and it can only get better from there on out. There's no reason why Liverpool can't win the Champions League. It's going to be tough because they're going to come up against either Bayern Munich or Real Madrid, and as we know, Real Madrid are no pushovers when it comes to the Champions League, and Bayern Munich are a strong side as well, but there's no reason to believe why Liverpool can't do it. They've been tremendous this season, and if not for a tremendous Manchester City side and maybe a few better results here and there, like West Brom when they drew 2-2 at the weekend, a few better results here and there, and they could have easily been challenging on 2 or 3 fronts this season. They've just fallen short on a few key areas, and I believe they'll fix that in the summer with players like Naby Keita coming in as well, and they're bound to add to their defensive options as well. All in all, I feel like Liverpool could easily go on and win the Champions League if they do it right. But as I said, they've got the talent, they've got just as much talent as Real Madrid this season, and Bayern Munich are obviously strong favourites as well, going into a tie against Liverpool if they want to make it through, but Liverpool are so strong now, I can't see past them doing extremely well in the final if they don't win it. And as usual here on Punt It Long, we go full circle and back to Dunfermline, who have ultimately caused this voice. It was me, my reaction, but that Nicky Clark 95th minute equaliser, it's a feeling that I'll never forget. And honestly, when I was running about on the terrace and watching it all unfold in front of my eyes and being part of that, it was just so special, and it honestly was, it was so emotional at the time. And I think you hear in the video, I say at one point, oh my god, just because I was so taken aback by the fact that everyone was so happy at one time, and it's amazing. Football is just an amazing sport, and the fact that it can change everyone's mood within just the kick of a ball or a header, you know, it's amazing. That game was going from such a negative, because at the end of the day, if we'd have lost that game and Inverness had won on Tuesday, which I'm sure they would have, we would have been in the position that right now it would have been out of our hands for the playoffs. So that goal could mean the world to us, and we still need to go and do a job on Saturday, but I have full belief in the side that we can go and get the result and go into the playoffs with nothing really to fear. Obviously facing Dundee United has been a problem for us in recent seasons, but here's hoping that we can do it when it really, really matters. Now on to the question part of the video. Last week's question was, I've just got it up on the computer now, who was the first signing under Roman Abramovich when he took over at Chelsea? There was 11 answers this time, 5 for Glenn Johnson, 3 for Damien Duff, 2 for Wayne Bridge, and 1 for Juan Sebastian Veron. And the correct answer was Glenn Johnson. So once again, he's have done it, he's got the correct answer. Hopefully he's only using Google, but if he's fair dues. This week's question is going to be based around Dunfermline, because as I said, this was kind of unplanned, so I've not actually got something in my head. I've just kind of came up with this on the spot. But who was the last player to score roughly in the last minute for Dunfermline? That obviously means like in the dying minutes of games, so between probably the 89th and plus minutes. Just a note, by the way, it has to be an actual winning goal or an equaliser or something, not just like a meaningless goal. And that's it for this week's episode of Punt It Long. Again, I apologise for the voice. Hopefully it'll be better by next week. Hopefully it'll be better by the weekend. But it's what you do for the love of the game, eh? So, as I said, thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.
Eyes back